Okay, aloha. Welcome to Chapter 3 of Speech 251, Public Speaking. And in this chapter, it's talking about developing your speech topic and purpose. There's a few goals for this course. Again, I kind of narrow it down to these three main goals here for this chapter. So when you read this chapter, how does it apply to your 4 speeches this semester? Again, very quickly, recognize the way the context influences your goal. So think about the context. You're giving a speech asynchronously online to other college students. Select audience-centered speech topics. We'll get through all this in a minute. And design clear statements of purpose. So this is a little, again, this is beyond speech 151. We're not going to just say, I'm going to talk about pets today. We're going to talk about informing, persuading, and a more specific purpose to our speech. When we talk about context, think about this. We usually just say, I'm afraid of public speaking. But you got to think about, why are you speaking? Think of the context. Are you speaking because you want to? Are you being asked to? Or are you being required to? So a lot of folks say, I don't want to take a speech class. I don't like being put on the spot. Well, you're not really being put on the spot. You decided to be here, right? You decided to come to college. So kind of think of that way when you give speeches. You're not really forced to anymore, right? It's kind of a fun thing. So think about how that changes what your topic's going to be. A lot of folks get started, and the first thing, I guess, is the nervousness, but hopefully when you get through your first Flipgrid video and you see what others are saying and doing, you can kind of relax. The next problem is people go, I don't know what to talk about. I got these 4 speeches and I have no idea. I'm boring, or I don't have anything I'm interested in. So start with this, okay? And again, read the book. It'll give you a lot of ideas. But think of what your interests are and what you're an expert in, okay? What do you like to talk about? And this is a good one. Even if you like to talk, like I like to talk about surfing, maybe you want to know more about something. Maybe you want to know more about waves or how swells work, a ground swell versus a wind swell. Those things, go and do the research and learn more about what you're interested in, and then come back and teach us in one of your speeches. Considering what you're an expert in, what comes naturally to you? It could be anything from pottery to running a marathon to being good, consoling folks when their pets die. We have a lot of vet tech students, for real. Have you lived or grown up in another country? I know some of you have. Those make for wonderful, all kinds of speeches, right? If you're from another country, you commemorate uniqueness, differences between America and Romania, for example, right? If you want to give informative speeches, we would love to hear about coffee, how coffee is served in different parts of the world, right? As long as it relates to us. This diagram is really useful. So on a piece of paper with, a pencil, do this if you're stuck for ideas. Scuba diving, for example, this is from the book, but just put your idea in the middle there. And then just start writing out, looking if there's tidal pools and other things, and just keep going from there, right? So I've had a lot of people say, I want to talk about global warming, and that would be scuba diving. And say, okay, well, that's fine, but how is that adapted to our audience? So let's try to think about that. So maybe instead of tidal pools there, it might say global warming in Hawaii, right? Okay, well, global warming in Hawaii, we're getting better, but what would we want to know about it, right? How about impact on the beach? Oh, that'd be interesting, right? Maybe impact on crops. Oh, that'd be interesting. So all of these things, as you develop these cluster diagrams, as you brainstorm, save it, because you never know, you might find multiple speeches in this idea. But try to do this for all of your speeches, just for fun. No one's going to see it. If you need help, let me know. Zoom with me. You got to do that once a semester anyway. Okay, now we're getting to the nitty-gritty of this chapter. When you speak versus like someone who's never taken a speech class, you ask them, what are you giving a speech for? Oh, I'm going to talk about, again, pets. Okay, okay. But for 251, we're going to try to get better at, it's really an art. Public speaking is really an art. Even though you're doing it to your computer, it's the same thing. I think it's actually easier in person because it's not recorded, right? So very quickly, here's some general purposes. So you've done some of these if you've taken SP 151, to inform, invite, persuade, introduce, commemorate, accept, and there's one more on there, entertain, that's not on there. So we're going to focus on these, and then we'll get more specific about it in this class. Very quickly, as a side note, you can think about it as well that a lot of these goals often intertwine with each other, right? So I may try to inform you, persuade you, and entertain you at the same time. But for this course, try to really focus. My informative speech is informative. My invitational is invitational. I'm not just informing you something. I'm inviting you to see something in a different way, okay? Okay, almost there. So this slide should relate directly to your writing assignment for the week as well, right? So rather than just talk about, we'll brainstorm topics, and then we'll have the purpose for the first speech is to inform, the next one is to persuade. We'll do the other ones later. But you can kind of see here, so speech 151 or your first speech class, there's our general purpose, and then maybe you got the specific purpose. So for the writing assignment, and for this chapter, try to write out the specific purpose of your speech. Okay, so to inform my audience services offered, you could inform people about the benefits of adopting an older pet. We had that speech last semester. It was awesome. You could invite people to consider adopting an older pet for these reasons, and if they don't because they prefer puppies, that's okay too, right? So that's invitational. To persuade, so you can see as you move through these specific purposes, you're going to improve your writing, and in terms of speech, you really learn to focus the goals of your message. Okay, so try to write these out for the assignments for sure. And here's a couple examples to kind of help you with the writing. You can go through these 3 steps, right? So the general purpose is to inform. A specific purpose would be to inform my audience about where to seek shelter, to inform my audience about adopting older animals, whatever you put there, okay? But make a sentence. And then the thesis statement is really the writing intensive part of this course. Try to do this. Try to write out a complete statement there. See, so when a tornado strikes, blah, blah, blah. Basically, you're putting it into written form, okay? So learn to do that, and I think that'll improve both your speaking and your writing. And the final slide here, an example in a persuasive speech. The general purpose to persuade, my specific purpose to persuade my audience to spay or neuter their pets. And then here's the thesis statement. I want you to start thinking about the beauty of this. If you do this for a speech, basically you're ready with your outline and thesis statement to turn into an essay for another class, right? So spaying or neutering pets is easy and affordable, and it helps prevent having to put down thousands of unwanted kittens and puppies each year. That's a preview of your speech right there in itself, okay? So hope these help. Again, it's a preview of chapter 3, and have fun with the class.